this issue of substantive due process does seem to me to be the point where all of the liberals, I shouldn't even say liberals, all of the pro-abortion advocates are focusing their fire because, and you even see this in the dissent, they're not even so much making a substantive argument for abortion rights, quote unquote, as they are saying, if we get rid of this, we're going to have to overrule Griswold, which finds a constitutional right to contraception. We're going to have to overrule Lawrence v. Texas, which finds a constitutional right to homosexual sodomy. We're going to have to overrule Obergefell, which finds a redefinition of marriage to include same-sex unions, all of which rely on substantive due process. Yep. And so then this question, the disagreement here between the court's majority opinion and then Thomas's concurrence, which goes further, this does seem to be the biggest point that the liberals are going to focus on.
Well, that's right. And I think it's worth reflecting on what that tells us. It tells us that even the far left thinks abortion is not a winning issue for them. Like, they're not arguing, many of them, they're not arguing the substance of this decision because they recognize that the vast majority of Americans favor at least some significant restrictions on abortions, that the positions of the left of unlimited abortion on demand up until the moment of birth, partial birth abortion with no restrictions, is a fringe view. Less than 9% of Americans support that view. And so smart liberals, which may be oxymoronic, but smart liberals and smart Democrats, they don't actually defend their view on this issue because they know it's unpopular. What they say is, well, what this means is all of these other decisions are going to be struck down. And I got to say, the majority in Dobbs says, I think 4 separate times, no, it doesn't. We're not overruling those opinions. We're not calling question into those opinions. Those opinions are totally different. Like, at one point they say, we don't know how we could be any clearer. And the majority opinion points out, says, look, so the ones they focus on contraception, and you have 2 decisions, Griswold and Eisenstadt. Griswold was a right to access contraceptives for married couples. Eisenstadt was a right to access contraceptives for single people. They also focus on Loving versus Virginia, which was a right to marry regardless of race, so interracial marriage. And then they focus on Lawrence, the right to homosexual sodomy and consensual sexual acts between adults, and then Obergefell, gay marriage. And what the court says repeatedly is, look, those are all completely different decisions. Why? Because none of them involve ending a human life. Abortion is fundamentally different. Ending a human life is a big deal. Even Roe called it potential life. And so repeatedly, the majority jumps up and down and says, we are not calling into question these decisions. This has nothing to do with it. The left keeps saying, oh, but these other issues, I think they're telegraphing, listen, if you had a referendum on should we ban contraceptives in America, nobody would vote for it. I mean, Michael, you might, but the rest of us wouldn't.
Yeah. The rest, I don't think there's a majority for it. That's certainly the case.